You go Indian. I'm gonna Indian.
I gotta be comfortable.
Hi, we're Brian, Marisha, and Klaus. We just spent 2 months overlanding the entire Mexican Baja Peninsula in our Revel 4x4 Sprinter van. Our main goal for this trip was to explore as many dirt roads as possible, as well as testing out our newly acquired surf skills on some of Baja's beginner surf breaks. We learned a lot, so we're making a series of videos to give you what we did not have. And that is a one-stop shop to planning an extended overlanding trip through Baja. In upcoming videos, we'll be covering route planning and maps, vehicle prep, what to pack, border crossing info, basics like fuel and water, roads, on and off-road, off-grid camping, and much more. The do's, the don'ts, and all the things we learned along the way.
That's Spanish for take a load off.
So let's get started.
Bye, Brian. Good luck.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Marisha.
I'm Brian.
We're starting our Baja recap series, and this will be video one of many that will hopefully help you get your trip planned for Baja if you plan on heading down there for an overland trip.
Yeah, our main goal was to follow up our trip. We were down there for 2 months. If you haven't watched our series, hop on board and go ahead and watch that. What we wanted to do on this overview was put together a outline for somebody that's thinking about going to Baja and try our best to touch on every single point that you would want to think about before you leave and cross the border and go into Baja. So we plan on doing several videos. We want to make them short. It's not like super exciting material, but at the same time we want it to be as detailed as possible without putting you to sleep.
Why we wanted to go is we had wanted to do an overland trip through Baja for years, and just the timing was right, so we decided to do 2 months and just explore around Baja as, I guess, deep as we could go in 2 months.
Yeah, we wanted to cover it all in our kind of past life, our throwback life, if you will. We did a lot of international travel where we would go to a country, spend usually about 3 weeks, and we'd try to cover all 4 corners, so to speak, mountains, beach, whatever's going on in that country, and try to get a good idea of what it was about. And so we applied that to Baja, and we stretched it out over 2 months. And so we did touch on every aspect of Baja. I think we did a pretty good job of covering it in the 2 months that we went down there. We were on the move, and we didn't really stay in one spot. Well, we did have a surf spot. We stayed for 6 days, and that was the longest spot that we stayed. Otherwise, it was a day or two. So you can kind of do the math on how much we covered and what we hit while we were down there.
So I guess to start is why we chose Baja versus mainland Mexico first. And that's probably just because Baja is an overlander's mecca. You can drive anywhere, you can camp almost anywhere. For free, there's a lot of wild camping, and it just, I think, seems to be a little safer as far as free camping and wild camping.
So Baja is very spread out. It's fairly desolate in some areas.
Yeah.
And so it's a great place for overlanding. We've been overlanding for 25 years or so, and so it's always been a place where I would love to go, where you can have these wide open areas where you can just drive for days and barely see anyone, if anyone. So it was pretty exciting to plan the trip for that, on my end anyway.
One of the things you want to consider with planning your Baja trip is the time of year that you want to go. We chose kind of the low season, which we crossed the border May 1st and came back July 1st. That's when it starts to get a little bit hot, so the crowds are way down from at least photos and other overlanding and traveler videos that we have seen.
And you may be on a beach, like you've seen in our videos, where we may be one of just ourselves or 3 vehicles and 200 yards worth of space, and it's really, really nice to have that space and kind of enjoy it, and then you can interact with people if you want. And one of the things is the Baja races. And so we didn't even cross our mind, really, honestly, when we were planning it. So it's something you need to think about, and this is the reason why we're doing the videos. We saw all the posted signs and the routes on a lot of the roads that we were on. And if you've ever seen a glimpse of those, you don't have to be into it. I'm sure you've seen the trucks jumping and going 100 miles an hour in the dark and, 24 hours races and such. Figure out those schedules. I can't wrap my mind around how that would even work, where you would be in a van going 20 miles an hour and a pickup truck doing 95 needs to get around you. So even if it's 24-hour races, you might be camping somewhere and you're going to have cars going by all night just ripping by your campsite. High season, you get a lot of travelers in the cooler times, and then that's going to make it trickier for some of the camping, even the free camping.
Yeah, and a lot of people do go down there in the winter because they want to escape. Some people go down there for the entire winter. It's probably pretty fun. You're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to feel safer because you're not alone. But if you're looking to get away from things and have a little solitude, you might just want to venture out a little further than the normal spots that you kind of see pop up everywhere.
Yeah, and one more point just came to mind when Marisha was talking was there's not a lot of paved roads. We were going against traffic when we were going down. A lot of people were heading north to go back to the border, back to the States. And so not only does it affect the off-road trails where you might see a lot of dust and get behind a lot of people on off-road trails and camping, but also even on the paved trails, just if you're looking to go A to B on a paved trail, you're going to run into a lot more traffic during the high season on those roads. And those roads are pretty narrow, and you'll probably see some pictures of that if you haven't watched our series. Vehicle type is another thing that we wanted to talk about. We have a van. We have a four-wheel drive diesel Sprinter, and it's got some really good clearance, especially for a van. One of the things in planning was that we planned a lot of off-road because one of our main goals was the overlanding aspect. We also had two other rigs that were with us that were friends. One was a Tundra with a topper on the back, and then we had a Grand Cherokee with a pop-up tent. And so all very capable off-road vehicles for overlanding.
Some of the videos that you see, a lot of the questions that we get are, could a full-size RV make it there? Could an extended van, two-wheel drive make it there? So I say just, either reach out to people that have been there before or just try and do your research on what the roads are like to get there, because not all the roads are all vehicle friendly.
Yeah, and once you watch our series, if you're really wondering, our series is going to be a great way for you to get a handle on all of Baja and what the roads are actually like. And a lot of the locals are driving, old Buick Centuries, and they'll have a couple cows in the back of an F-150, that sort of thing, two-wheel drive. And so, you have good tires and you have some recovery gear because everyone gets stuck eventually.
Yep.
Everyone does.
Next point you would want to consider when you are planning your Baja trip is how much time you might want to spend in Baja California versus Baja California Sur, which is north and south.
Yeah, there's a mountain range that runs through the entire peninsula, and that changes the temperature whether you're north or south. And west coast versus east coast, it's cooler on the west coast, it's warmer on the east coast.
As you go south down the eastern side, so Sea of Cortez, you almost need a wetsuit on the northern part, but then on the southern side you did nothing.
You can swim.
Warm.
Yeah, it's pretty warm. It's not like super warm, but you can do a rash guard. I was surfing with a rash guard only. Yeah. And border shorts, and was totally fine. Yeah. Pretty much north to south. On the west coast, though, it's pretty chilly. Kind of really close to wetsuit.
True.
Wetsuit chilly. So just keep that in mind when you're checking out the beaches.
P.S. It's Friday. We're having a little tequila cocktail.
Cheers to Friday.
Cheers to Friday. Little tequila because we are reminiscing about Baja. Sweet. Hey, thanks again for watching. Next time, we cover how we executed route planning and all things maps. See you next time. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Adventure is calling.